Now, a traditionally conservative state that would hit you with a felony charge, a fine, and 10 years in jail just for home grows may be easing its stance on the good herb as they just got their first grow operation started. But there's a catch, as it may not be all kush clouds and rainbows over in Kentucky, especially if you're a home grower.
Now into a new year, there are several new laws in Kentucky that are officially in effect. That includes the legalization of medical marijuana for the first time ever in the Commonwealth. Starting today, licensed dispensaries can start selling medical cannabis to qualified patients with chronic illnesses. However, with all medical cannabis required to be grown within the state, it's unlikely the product will be available immediately.
2025 also marks the official start of Kentucky's medical cannabis program. Qualifying patients who have received a physician certification can now apply for medical cards that will be issued by the state. Lawmakers passed the bill legalizing it in 2023 and passed another bill in 2024 to get the growing process started earlier.
And that's given us a big head start, but certainly it's going to take a little bit of time to ultimately get the dispensaries open and to get that product there.
The program is limited to smokeless products. What is going up in smoke are non-FDA authorized vape products. 2024's House Bill 11 banned the sale of any vape product not approved by the Food and Drug Administration. Vape shop owners have told us it could shut many storefronts down for good.
It's going to wipe me out. I'm worried, and a lot of store owners are worried because we're small business owners at the end of the day. We pay our bills this way.
I really don't care what business goes out because we limit the sale of these products. We don't know what's in this product, but what we do know, we've got kids all over this Commonwealth falling down with overdoses.
So things over in Kentucky are changing. Whether it's for the good or for the bad, we're going to break that down in today's episode. Now, one thing that is for certain is that in Kentucky, it's a traditionally conservative state. And over there, you can get felony charges, you can get fines, you can even get jail time for things such as sale, trafficking, cultivation, hash concentrates, or even just possession. But the fact that they've signed a medical program into law back in 2023, which became effective this year in 2025, is fantastic. And not only does it show finally an acceptance toward the plant, but also an acceptance of the medical benefits that the plant can bring. And according to this article, the Kentucky governor celebrates the medical milestone with the first legal plants now being grown in the state. Fantastic. And here, Governor Andy Beshear said this administration made a commitment to Kentuckians suffering from cancer, PTSD, multiple sclerosis, and other eligible conditions, and I'm proud that we're making this progress to deliver safe, affordable access to medical herb. And a few months ago, construction actually began on Kentucky's first medical grow operation. Have a look.
Groundbreaking for a new facility to grow medical cannabis in southern Kentucky was held this morning. A facility will be in Monticello. Governor Beshear's senior advisor says it will be the first medical cultivating facility in the state. WKYT's Phil Pendleton has the story that's new at noon.
This is an area just off of Kentucky 1275 in Monticello, and when this facility is completed, it will lead up to a $25 million investment, I am told, leading to 75 to 100 high-paying jobs. Now, it follows medical cannabis being legalized in Kentucky, and that law officially took effect in January of this year. But the process to grow the product, process it, and then dispense it is lengthy and time-consuming. But today, a major step forward in the groundbreaking for a facility to cultivate the product. A lottery was held for the cultivators, processors, and dispensaries late last year. This is a continuation of the cultivation role.
This is the first groundbreaking from that lottery, and this is the first groundbreaking in the medical cannabis initiative since the bill's been passed.
Kentucky medical cannabis officials tell me that many other facilities are actually being retrofitted to grow the medical cannabis. They expect possibly the first product to be ready to be dispensed sometime late this summer or early next fall.
So that's pretty cool to see. Construction has already started, but not just that, they're moving pretty quickly, because have a look at this. It seems that growing has also already started. Check it out.
A company in Kentucky has rolled out the state's first ever supply of medical marijuana. Armory, Kentucky, it's in Mayfield, started operations last Friday. State inspectors gave the company approval last month to grow. Governor Andy Beshear says medical marijuana can offer life-changing relief for people with cancer, post-traumatic stress, and other medical problems. He signed the bill back in 2023 legalizing medical marijuana across that state.
So again, these are all great pieces of news that we're hearing, especially when it comes to the acceptance of the plant and breaking that stigma. And I think a lot of people are noticing a lot more benefits when it comes to this fantastic plant, as that is evident in this article, which says the medical herb is an effective treatment option for chronic pain, patients improving their quality of life, according to a brand new study. And this article goes on to say that a new study in the journal Pharmacy says that patients with chronic pain who used the good herb for at least 1 year exhibited significantly lower healthcare utilizations compared to non-users, which basically means that they reported fewer visits to the urgent care and emergency departments, as well as a higher quality of life. Less pills from Big Pharma, and you just naturally feel a whole lot better. So it's clear that there are a lot of benefits when it comes to this good plant, and Kentucky has recognized that and actually said that there's certain medical conditions that will automatically qualify you for your medical card. Now I want to show you guys a clip that will break down what growing medical herb will look like in Kentucky, but before we do, just a quick reminder, if you're getting value from this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, join the ICANN VIP Bean Club or just buy us a cup of coffee. And if you happen to be a home gardener, try the ICANN Organics, use the code LEGAL, it'll get you a nice discount on the bundle and the beans.
This month, we're going to find out which companies will be the first selected through a lottery to grow medical marijuana right here in the Bluegrass State. There's been a lot of interest outside Kentucky to win one of those few and coveted business licenses. Our Focus Team investigator John Charlton hit the road to take us to one of those companies with experience with cannabis as it continues to grow.
Goal right now is 10 states.
Into Kentucky as well. However, they decided to hold off on applying for a cultivator license in the Bluegrass in this first round.
Okay, so you guys were interested in Kentucky. Are you still interested in Kentucky at some point?
Absolutely. When it comes to Kentucky, I like the framework. I think that the early framework is not going to be the enduring framework, meaning right now they don't allow for smokable flower, but that's going to change.
Kentucky is also medical marijuana only, and that cannabis like this will have to grow inside under the lights instead of outside under the sun. That despite favorable natural conditions.
Kentucky has a great climate for agriculture, and cannabis farms this side is just that. It is agriculture.
We do add some nutrients, but majority of it is just water and sun.
It is better for the environment from an electrical standpoint, from a regenerative standpoint, and all-around sustainability.
Pure Michigan.
To me, this is when the plant turns from a plant into a tree.
It's their way of cultivating cannabis.
So clearly Kentucky's putting regulations when it comes to this program. There are only certain medical conditions that will be recognized, and also currently smokable flower is not actually permitted. But these things may change over time, as constantly the regulations that the Kentucky governors are putting in place are changing. Check it out.
Today at the Team Kentucky Weekly Update, Governor Andy Beshear announcing 5 more proposed regulations to help sick Kentuckians. Those requirements are spelling out who would qualify for medical marijuana before it becomes official. Focus investigator John Charlton explains the application process and how much it'll cost.
I'm pleased to report my administration filed another 5 regulations.
That brings the total now up to 15 proposed regulations ahead of Kentucky's medical marijuana program, officially starting on the first of the year next year.
These new regulations establish how Kentuckians can become cardholders.
Applications will be done online, and the portal will go live on January 1st. Applicants must be Kentucky residents, must provide written certification from their doctor that they have at least one of the qualifying conditions such as cancer, PTSD, or epilepsy, and must upload a notarized signature page.
Additional documentation, as the governor mentioned, will be required for designated caregivers, minor patients, and visiting patients.
Sick and qualifying Kentuckians now also know how much it'll cost to get an official medical marijuana card, as well as the annual renewal fee.
Those are set at $25, which is one of the lowest application fees for a purely medical program in the country.
The cards, after the application is processed and approved, will be emailed and can be printed out or saved on a smartphone or computer. Cards will include aspects to help prevent counterfeiting.
The features include a QR code for law enforcement that can verify the validity of a card if necessary, as well as a barcode for dispensaries to scan when presented with the card and a second form of government-issued identification at the point of sale.
Cardholders will be able to buy up to 4 ounces of medical marijuana in raw plant material per month. However, as we've reported, folks shouldn't expect that there will be cannabis available on day one. The earliest to grow it will be January 1st.
So all in all, these are some good steps. But like I told you guys at the beginning of the video, it's not all kush clouds and rainbows, because there are a few things that we need to be paying attention to. And one of those things is Senator Mitch McConnell, and he actually wants to close that hemp farming loophole. And that may not be a good thing, but let's have a look at what he has to say.
Senator Mitch McConnell wants to close a loophole created in the 2018 Farm Bill that legalized hemp farming. That's because the loophole allows the sale of intoxicating THC products like Delta-8 that feel like cannabis.
But as our Ian Hardwood reports, closing that loophole could have unintended consequences for non-intoxicating CBD products.
Surrounded by bourbon barrel rick houses, Kentucky Heritage Hemp is a different kind of distilling business in Nelson County.
This is the ground and dried biomass.
President Alice Peterson showed off some hemp flower bound for the extractor. There, another batch sits in food-grade liquid CO2 with 850 psi pushing out CBD oil. In the lab, it's frozen, separated from wax, heated, decarbed, and distilled. Then it solidifies in 5-gallon buckets.
A bucket like this is going to yield hundreds of thousands of gummies.
CBD gummies, used to treat anxiety, pain, insomnia, and more. These bins hold all of the hemp flower that comes from the Peterson family farm. That means this business, from where it's grown to where it's all distilled, they have an eye on every single step of the process.
Based on the 2018 Farm Bill, we invested millions of dollars to create this business.
Senator Mitch McConnell pushed for the bill, effectively reviving hemp farming across America.
It has allowed for intoxicating hemp-derived synthetic products to be made and sold across our country.
Under a bill that advanced out of the Senate Appropriations Committee, McConnell wants the FDA to set a limit on how much THC ends up in the final CBD product. That's to prevent products like Delta-8 from being sold, which functions similar to cannabis.
And often use deceptive and predatory marketing towards children.
Peterson said the cap is currently 0.3%, which is the same cap Kentucky has on the THC that naturally occurs in hemp flower.
Now, in some of these situations, it's hard to think that term limits would avoid some of these issues. Senator Mitch McConnell is very old and probably has a very old school way of thinking. And in those situations, a younger generation, a younger way of thinking, a more modern way of thinking may be a little better in terms of approach. But that said, Senator Mitch McConnell and a few other lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are figuring out ways to actually close that Farm Bill loophole. Now, what I found pretty interesting about Kentucky's medical program that they're about to roll out is that Tennesseans will not be allowed to take part. But before we get into that and break that down, federal law will actually prevent Kentucky medical patients from owning firearms. Have a look at that.
Starting January 1st, some Kentuckians will be forced to decide between their health and their right to bear arms. WDRB's Zadie Shaney tells us if you want to use medical marijuana, you'll have to give up your Second Amendment rights.
Buying a firearm starts with this form, but come January 1st, it'll be harder for some Kentuckians to fill it out, at least truthfully.
We cannot transfer you a firearm if you check yes in this box.
The box gun store owner Ryan Kreider refers to asks, are you an unlawful user of or addicted to marijuana? Once the calendar flips to January, medical marijuana is legal in Kentucky, but remains illegal under federal law. This clash leaves Kentuckians caught in the crossfire.
You cannot possess firearms and ammunition and also be a user of marijuana.
ATF Special Agent A.J. Gibbs says the law doesn't just apply to new gun purchases. Current gun owners who get medical marijuana cards face a decision. If a Kentuckian is getting a medical marijuana card, are they expected to give up their guns?
They're not expected to. If they wish to follow federal law and not be in violation of it, then they need to make the decision to divest themselves from those firearms.
Violators face prison time and a fine of up to $250,000. However, ATF says charges will likely only be pursued in connection to another felony offense.
We are not actively seeking and working solely for any investigations involving just the possession of firearms and marijuana because of our finite resources.
Still, it's a decision Kentuckians who want to follow the law will have to face until marijuana is legal federally or an exemption is added to federal gun laws.
I think the federal government in the near future needs to figure out
how the Second Amendment and marijuana is going to coexist, because it is already coexisting and it'll just be more prevalent in the future.
For now, to follow the law, Kentuckians will have to decide what matters more, their Second Amendment rights or their health.
So you guys can see that issue right there. There's a little bit of a balancing exercise which needs to be done between balancing the importance of your right to defend yourself, but also your right to health and having a good quality of life. So it'll be interesting to see how that rolls out. But what is rolling out is the Kentucky medical program, and Tennesseans are not allowed to take part. Let's have a look at that.
Starting today, medical marijuana is legal in Kentucky.
But Tennesseans thinking crossing the state line might have to think twice. News 2's Mark Kelly explains the ins and outs of Kentucky's new medical marijuana law.
Starting January 1st, the Bluegrass State officially allows another sort of grass to grow.
Our program will begin accepting applications for medical cannabis cards from Kentucky patients on January 1st, 2025.
So what's allowed under Kentucky's new medical marijuana law, also known as SB 47? Well, if you're over 18 with a doctor's permission, you can buy medical cannabis in raw plant, edible, tincture, and for those over 21, vape form. If you're under 18, you'll need an adult caregiver.
Our goal from the outset is to ensure that everyone who qualifies has access. Our practitioner directory will ensure that Kentuckians can find a nurse or a doctor near them.
But Tennesseans don't get any ideas. Tennessee does not allow medical marijuana. And if you're thinking about crossing state lines to get a Kentucky medical marijuana ID, that won't be happening either. You have to be a resident of Kentucky.
I've been really proud of the work that's gone in. We are going to have a highly regulated system that is going to ensure that those that qualify are able to get the help that they need, but to prevent any abuses of the system at the same time.
SB 47 also does not allow felons convicted of certain crimes to take part, and it does not allow Kentuckians to grow their own medical cannabis. Counties and cities are allowed to ban dispensaries, and a few did, including Allen County on Tennessee's border. Also, the ATF is warning Kentuckians that at the federal level, marijuana is illegal, and you cannot purchase a gun and also use cannabis, even if it's medical.
To mitigate these risks could be to, just refrain from using marijuana. Some may feel like giving up their firearms is the best option for the time being, or just transferring ownership for a span of time while you're a patient.
Although the medical marijuana program technically starts today, it's expected to be well into 2025 before the first Kentucky dispensary opens its doors.
It's a long time coming, but I'm excited that we're doing it.
Mark Kelly, News 2.
So these are definitely steps in the right direction for Kentucky, but it feels like it's a little bit short of what a lot of people actually want. There's no rec, there's no home grows, and limited smokable flower, but that may change in the future, and a lot of people are hopeful that it will change and it will only become better and better and better as time passes. But let me know what you guys think about that. Drop it in the comments down below. I'm really interested to find out what you guys got to say about this, especially when it comes to a traditionally conservative state finally setting up grow operations in that state. Now, we actually did a recent video breaking down certain products which multiple states are banning, so if you haven't seen that, check it out to see if your state's involved, because that's coming up right now.